Think all muscle cars are built to thrill? Think again. Some became legends, others total letdowns. Before you drop a dime on your dream ride, you need to see this. We're counting down 7 of the worst and 6 of the best muscle cars you can actually buy. Some of these picks will seriously shock you, especially number 1, an SS badged car that's slower than a family sedan. Let's dive right into it. All right, get ready because we're starting with the 7 worst muscle cars ever made. These cars looked fast and cool, but didn't live up to the hype. And wait until you see the one at number 1. It has an SS badge, but it's slower than some family cars. You won't want to miss it. Number 7, 1974 Ford Gran Torino. The mid-1970s were not kind to muscle cars, and no vehicle better represents this tragic decline than the 1974 Ford Gran Torino. What was once a strong and respected car during the golden age of muscle cars had, by 1974, become a heavier and weaker version of what it used to be. The 1974 model year saw the Gran Torino grow significantly larger and heavier than its predecessors. This weight gain would have been forgivable if Ford had maintained powerful engine options. But this wasn't the case. The standard 302 V8 produced a laughable 140 horsepower, which was barely enough to move the car's bulk build. Even the optional 351 Cleveland V8 only managed around 162 horsepower. For context, modern economy cars produce more power than these supposed muscle cars did. But here's the weird part. This underpowered boat became a pop culture icon. How? Not because it tore up the streets, but because it looked cool on TV. The car gained fame through its starring role in the Starsky and Hutch television series, where the bright red Gran Torino with its white stripe became an iconic symbol of 1970s cool. Unfortunately, the TV car's persona wrote checks that the actual production vehicle could never cash. Driving a 74 Gran Torino today means accepting its reality as a classic cruiser rather than a true muscle car. You'll look good going slow, but that's about it. And with fuel economy often dipping below 10 miles per gallon, you'll pay dearly for the privilege. And if you thought the Gran Torino was a letdown, wait till you see what comes next. The next car on our list proves that even a legendary badge can't save you from mediocrity. Number 6, 1975 Chevrolet Camaro. Following the oil crisis and tightening emission standards, the once mighty Camaro found itself in crisis by 1975. This particular model year represents perhaps the lowest point in the Camaro's long history, with performance so compromised that calling it a muscle car feels almost dishonest. The 1975 Camaro suffered from the perfect storm of performance-killing factors. First, Chevrolet's engine lineup was severely restricted. The base model came with an inline-6 producing a mere 105 horsepower. Even the V8 options were shadows of their former selves, as the top-of-the-line 350 cubic-inch V8 managed only 150 horsepower, less than half of what similar engines produced just a few years earlier. Second, these engines were burdened with carrying around a car that had grown substantially heavier due to new safety regulations requiring reinforced bumpers and additional structural support. The result? A 0 to 60 time often exceeding 10 seconds. What makes this particular Camaro such a poor purchase today isn't just its lack of performance, but the price premium that comes with the Camaro badge. Because the nameplate carries such weight among collectors, even these performance-challenged models command prices far above what their driving experience justifies. The most curious aspect of the 75 Camaro was that despite being one of the slowest production Camaros ever made, it was actually one of the best-selling. But how did such a performance disappointment move so many units? The answer lies in changing consumer priorities during the energy crisis. With fuel economy suddenly a concern, many buyers were content with the Camaro's looks without the gas-guzzling performance of earlier models. Would you pay premium muscle car prices for family sedan performance? That's essentially what you're getting with a 1975 Camaro. Unless you're specifically collecting Malaise-era vehicles or have a particular nostalgia for this model year, your muscle car dollars are better spent elsewhere. As we move forward in our countdown, let's examine another iconic nameplate that fell victim to the changing automotive landscape of the mid-1970s. 5. 1976 Dodge Charger. Few automotive transformations are as heartbreaking as what happened to the Dodge Charger by 1976. The vehicle that had once been the epitome of aggressive muscle car styling, immortalized in everything from Bullitt to the Dukes of Hazzard, and had morphed into what amounted to a personal luxury coupe with sporting pretensions. The 1976 Charger shared its platform with the Chrysler Cordoba, complete with the fine Corinthian leather that Ricardo Montalban famously advertised. This platform sharing resulted in a Charger that was softer, heavier, and far less performance-oriented than its legendary predecessors. Engine options for the 76 Charger range from a 318 cubic inch V8 producing a meager 150 horsepower to a 400 cubic inch V8 that, despite its substantial displacement, generated only 175 horsepower. These were engines designed more for smooth highway cruising than stoplight drags or quarter-mile runs. The most telling aspect of how far the Charger had fallen from its muscle car roots was the interior. Gone were the driver-focused cockpits of the past, replaced with plush, comfortable seating and luxury car amenities. This wasn't a bad thing in itself, but the problem was that the car continued to trade on the Charger's performance heritage while delivering a completely different driving experience. Curiosity loop. One question that often comes up among muscle car enthusiasts is, why didn't Dodge simply create a new model name rather than diluting the Charger's performance legacy? The answer is simple. It's brand recognition. Dodge knew that even a luxury-oriented Charger would sell better than an all-new model name without any heritage. Today, these mid-70s Chargers exist in an awkward collector car limbo. They're not particularly sought after by muscle car purists who prefer the 1968 to 1971 models, nor are they as desirable as pure luxury cars of the era. The result is a vehicle that offers neither authentic muscle car experience nor true luxury car refinement. And just wait, one of the worst offenders on this list somehow became a Hollywood icon. Can you guess which one? 4. 1980 Mercury Capri. The Mercury Capri of 1980 represents one of the most disappointing attempts to capitalize on muscle car nostalgia while delivering almost none of the expected performance. Based on the Fox body Mustang platform, the Capri attempted to position itself as a more upscale performance alternative, but the execution fell woefully short. The 1980 Capri suffered from severe power deficiencies that plagued many American cars of this era. The standard 2.3-liter four-cylinder engine produced a meager 88 horsepower, while the optional 3.3-liter inline-six managed just 105 horsepower. Even the performance option, which was a 4.2-liter V8, generated only 118 horsepower, an almost comically low figure for an engine of that size. These power figures resulted in a lack of performance across the board. The V8 Capri required nearly 11 seconds to reach 60 miles per hour from a standstill. These were numbers that would embarrass many modern economy cars. Quarter-mile times were equally unimpressive, with the car struggling to break the 18-second barrier. Despite its performance shortcomings, Mercury marketed the Capri as a serious sports car, with options like the TRX handling package suggesting capabilities the car simply couldn't deliver. This disconnect between marketing and reality makes the 1980 Capri one of the most cynical muscle car offerings of its era. Curiosity loop. Have you ever wondered why these cars disappeared from roads so quickly despite decent sales numbers? The answer reveals another major problem with the 1980 Capri, which was quality control issues. These cars were plagued with electrical problems, premature rust, and drivetrain reliability concerns that sent many to junkyards long before their time. While later Fox body Mustangs have developed a strong following, these early Capris remain relatively unloved, with few enthusiasts willing to invest in preserving or restoring them. The result is a vehicle that's both difficult to maintain due to scarce parts and hard to justify given its mediocre performance. CTA. If you're enjoying this dive into the dark side of muscle car history, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We've still got some real shockers coming up, and you won't want to miss the car that ranks first on this list. All right, back to it. 3. 1980/1981 Pontiac Grand Prix. By the early 1980s, many traditional muscle car nameplates had been repurposed for vehicles that prioritize fuel economy and comfort over performance. The 1980 to 1981 Pontiac Grand Prix stands as a prime example of this trend, offering little beyond its nameplate to justify consideration as a muscle car. The Grand Prix had been downsized significantly by 1980, moving to GM's G-body platform. While weight reduction could have potentially improved performance, any such benefits were nullified by the car's severely underpowered engine options. The standard power plant was a Buick-sourced 3.8-liter V6, producing just 110 horsepower, while the optional 4.9-liter V8 managed only 150 horsepower. Performance figures tell the grim story, as even with the V8, the Grand Prix needed around 11 seconds to reach 60 miles per hour. Quarter-mile times were in the high 17-second range. These numbers weren't just slow by muscle car standards, but were uncompetitive, even with many family sedans of the era. The styling of these Grand Prix models has aged particularly poorly as well. The once sleek profile of earlier generations had given way to an awkward, boxy design with curious proportions. The interior continued this theme with a confusing array of buttons and switches that often failed prematurely. But if they were so underwhelming, why did GM continue producing them? The answer reveals much about the American auto industry in this period. These G-body coupes, despite their performance limitations, remained profitable for GM because they shared platforms and components with numerous other models, keeping production costs low while allowing the company to charge a premium for what was marketed as a personal luxury car with performance heritage. For collectors, these early 80s Grand Prix models offer little upside. They lack both the performance credentials of true muscle cars and the refined luxury of premium personal coupes. Maintenance can be challenging as well, with many model-specific parts becoming increasingly difficult to source. Looking back, the 1980 to 1981 Grand Prix represents a low point for Pontiac, a brand that had once defined American performance with icons like the GTO. Our next entry continues this theme of fallen performance icons. 2. 1979/1980 Pontiac Trans Am and Trans Am Turbo. Sometimes Hollywood fame can create a misleading legacy. No muscle car better exemplifies this than the 1979 to 1980 Pontiac Trans Am, a vehicle whose cultural impact far exceeded its actual performance capabilities. The black and gold Trans Am achieved iconic status through its starring role in Smokey and the Bandit, creating an enduring image of automotive rebellion and performance. The reality, however, was far less impressive. By 1979, even the top-of-the-line Trans Am with the 6.6-liter V8 produced just 220 horsepower, which was a decent figure for the era, but weak when compared to Trans Ams of the late 1960s and early 1970s. Pontiac attempted to address this power deficit with the introduction of the Trans Am Turbo, equipped with a turbocharged 4.9-liter V8. On paper, this seemed promising, with Pontiac claiming 210 horsepower. In reality, the turbo system was primitive, suffering from significant lag and reliability issues. Contemporary road tests revealed disappointing performance with 0 to 60 mile per hour, times around 9 seconds and quarter-mile runs in the mid-16-second range. Beyond performance limitations, these Trans Ams suffered from numerous quality issues. The complex emissions control systems were prone to failure, the turbocharger components often didn't last beyond 30,000 miles, and electrical problems were common. The interiors, with their combination of hard plastics and vinyl, deteriorated quickly under regular use. Curiosity loop. The curious case of the Trans Am Turbo raises an interesting question as to why Pontiac went with the turbocharged route rather than simply increasing displacement. The answer reflects the challenging regulatory environment manufacturers faced. Corporate average fuel economy standards were tightening, making large displacement engines increasingly difficult to justify. Turbocharging represented an attempt to maintain performance while improving efficiency, though the technology wasn't yet mature enough to deliver on this promise reliably. Their cultural significance and distinctive styling make them recognizable and desirable, but their driving experience rarely lives up to their visual promise. Values have increased significantly for well-preserved examples, driven more by nostalgia and movie fame than by performance credentials. This next one might be the most misleading muscle car ever made, and it's proof that even in the 2000s, manufacturers still got it totally wrong. 2000 Chevrolet Monte Carlo SS. As we enter the 21st century with our countdown, we arrive at perhaps the most disappointing muscle car of the modern era, the 2000 Chevrolet Monte Carlo SS. This vehicle demonstrates that even with modern technology, it's still possible to create a muscle car that utterly fails to deliver on its promises. The 2000 Monte Carlo SS committed the greatest sin of muscle car creation, as it looked the part but offered nothing under the hood to back up its aggressive styling. Despite the storied SS badge and NASCAR-inspired design cues, this front-wheel drive coupe was powered by a 3.8-liter V6, producing just 200 horsepower, which was hardly worthy of the muscle car designation. Performance figures tell the story as 0 to 60 miles per hour took around 7.5 seconds, and the quarter mile required approximately 15.8 seconds. These numbers weren't just disappointing for a vehicle wearing the SS badge, as they were barely competitive with family sedans of the same era. The driving experience further undermined any performance pretensions. As a front-wheel drive vehicle built on GM's W-body platform, the Monte Carlo SS suffered from torque steer under acceleration and understeer in corners. The soft suspension prioritized comfort over handling, resulting in excessive body roll during spirited driving. But why did Chevrolet apply the legendary SS badge to such an underwhelming vehicle? The answer reveals much about GM's brand management in this period. NASCAR visibility was deemed more important than actual performance credentials, with the Monte Carlo's racing success meant to sell street versions regardless of their capabilities. For collectors and enthusiasts, the 2000 Monte Carlo SS represents a particularly poor investment. Unlike some older, underperforming muscle cars that have gained value through nostalgia or rarity, these early 2000 Monte Carlos remain relatively unloved in the collector market. They're neither old enough to benefit from classic status, nor powerful enough to appeal to performance enthusiasts. If you're enjoying this brutal takedown of muscle car disappointments, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. We've got plenty more automotive content coming your way that separates the marketing hype from the road-tested reality. If the worst cars made you cringe, the next 6 will blow your mind. These legends not only live up to the hype, but some might even be undervalued steals right now. The 6 best muscle cars. 6. Plymouth Roadrunner Superbird. Few muscle cars make a visual statement as bold as the 1970 Plymouth Roadrunner Superbird. With its towering rear wing, aerodynamic nose cone, and cartoon Roadrunner graphics, the Superbird is an automotive theater of the highest order. But unlike many cars on our worst list, the Superbird's performance capabilities fully match its outrageous appearance. Originally designed specifically for NASCAR competition, the Superbird represented Plymouth's determination to lure Richard Petty back to the brand after he had defected to Ford. The street version was built only to satisfy NASCAR's homologation requirements, with Plymouth producing approximately 1,920 examples for public sale. This racing pedigree wasn't just marketing hype, it informed every aspect of the car's design. The aerodynamic modifications weren't added merely for show. The nose cone reduced drag, while the massive rear wing actually generated downforce at high speeds. These features made the Superbird more stable than standard muscle cars when traveling at triple-digit velocities. Under the hood, the Superbird offered serious power to match its aerodynamic advantages. While the base model came with a 440 cubic inch V8 producing 375 horsepower, buyers could opt for the 446 pack with 3 two-barrel carburetors generating 390 horsepower. The ultimate Superbird came equipped with the legendary 426 Hemi Fate, rated at 425 horsepower, but widely believed to produce considerably more. Performance was impressive even by modern standards. Hemi-equipped Superbirds could reach 60 miles per hour in under 6 seconds and run the quarter mile in the mid-13-second range. These figures are all the more remarkable considering the car's substantial weight in the tire technology of the era. Curiosity loop. But have you ever wondered why the Superbird's wing was so tall? There's actually a fascinating engineering reason behind it. The height was carefully calculated to place the wing in clean air above the turbulence created by the car's roof. Additionally, the extreme height allowed the trunk to open fully without interference. This was a practical consideration that showcases the blend of racing purpose and street usability. Today, the Superbird stands as one of the most valuable muscle cars ever produced, with prices for Hemi examples regularly exceeding $2 million at auction. Even base 440-powered versions command hundreds of thousands of dollars. This valuation reflects not just the car's rarity, but its significance as perhaps the ultimate expression of the original muscle car era's no-compromises approach to performance. As we transition to our next entry, we move from specialized, limited production muscle to a car that defined the category for an entire generation. 5. Pontiac GTO. The Pontiac GTO didn't just participate in the muscle car segment, rather it created it. First introduced in 1964, the GTO established the winning formula that would define American performance for a decade. A powerful V8 engine transplanted into an intermediate-sized body, creating a package that delivered exceptional straight-line performance at an accessible price point. What made the original GTO so revolutionary was its timing and execution. Pontiac circumvented General Motors' corporate ban on racing by offering the GTO as an option package rather than as a standalone model. This loophole allowed Pontiac to stuff the 389 cubic inch V8 from its full-size cars into the midsize Tempest, creating a power-to-weight ratio that was unheard of in affordable American cars of the time. The 1966 to 1967 GTOs are often considered the pinnacle of the model line. By this point, the GTO had become its own model rather than an option package. The styling was clean and aggressive without being excessive, and engine options had expanded to include the potent 400 cubic inch V8 with the tri-power carburetor setup, producing 360 horsepower. Performance from these mid-60s GTOs remains impressive even by modern standards. Properly equipped examples could reach 60 miles per hour in under 6 seconds and run the quarter mile in the high 13-second range. But raw numbers don't tell the whole story, as the GTO delivered its performance with a sense of drama and character that few modern vehicles can match. A question muscle car enthusiasts often debate is if the GTO is actually the first true muscle car. While cars like the Chrysler 300 and Oldsmobile Rocket 88 had previously combined big engines with medium-sized bodies, the GTO was the first to deliberately target the youth market with performance-focused marketing, creating the cultural phenomenon that would define muscle cars going forward. For collectors, GTOs from 1964 to 1972 represent blue-chip investments that have consistently appreciated in value. Even more important than their financial worth is their driving experience. A well-restored GTO delivers a perfect blend of brutal acceleration, intimidating exhaust note, and period-correct styling that encapsulates the muscle car ethos perfectly. As we keep exploring amazing muscle cars, we're shifting from the original legend to a modern beast that shows the muscle car vibe is still going strong today. 4. Dodge Challenger Demon. If the original muscle cars were about pushing boundaries, the 2018 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon represents the concept taken to its logical extreme. In an era of increasing regulation focused on efficiency, Dodge created a factory production car so focused on quarter-mile performance that it was actually banned from competition by the National Hot Rod Association for being too fast without additional safety equipment. The Demon's specifications read like muscle car fantasy, a supercharged 6.2-liter Hemi Series 8 producing 840 horsepower and 770 pound-feet of torque when running on 100-plus octane race fuel. This makes it the most powerful production muscle car ever built, capable of 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 2.3 seconds and a quarter-mile time of 9.65 seconds at 140 miles per hour, performance that puts it in the company of million-dollar hypercars rather than traditional muscle cars. To achieve these remarkable figures, Dodge engineers incorporated numerous drag racing-specific features. The Demon comes equipped with a trans brake that allows the driver to build engine RPM before launch, a dedicated drag mode that optimizes the suspension for weight transfer during acceleration, and even a factory-installed system to cool the supercharger with air conditioning refrigerant. Perhaps most remarkable about the Demon is that it achieves supercar performance while maintaining the practicality of a production Challenger. Unlike dedicated drag racers, you can drive the Demon to work every day in reasonable comfort, with all modern conveniences like climate control and an infotainment system. Curiosity loop. Have you ever wondered how Dodge convinced their corporate overlords to greenlight such an extreme project? The answer reveals the business genius behind the madness. The Demon generated enormous publicity for the entire Challenger lineup, bringing customers into showrooms who might ultimately purchase more mainstream variants. Additionally, with a limited production run of just 3,300 units, Dodge ensured that demand would exceed supply, allowing dealers to command premium prices. For collectors, the Demon represents an instant collectible. With its limited production, extreme performance credentials, and place in automotive history as the most powerful factory muscle car ever produced, values have already begun to appreciate beyond the original MSRP of $84,995. Many examples were purchased as investments and have never been driven in anger. CTA machines like the Demon don't come around often, and neither do stories like these. If muscle cars get your heart racing, this is your kind of content. Subscribe now and be the first to discover the next beast before values skyrocket. 3. Chevrolet Camaro Exorcist. In the world of high-performance muscle cars, competition breeds excellence. When Dodge unleashed the Challenger Demon, it was only a matter of time before Chevrolet countered. That response came in the form of the Camaro Exorcist. And while technically not a factory Chevrolet product, this Hennessy performance-modified ZL1 Camaro delivers performance that puts it firmly among the greatest muscle cars ever created. The Exorcist starts life as a Chevrolet Camaro ZL1, already an impressive performer with its supercharged 6.2-liter LT4 V8 producing 650 horsepower. Hennessy then applies its performance magic, upgrading the supercharger, camshaft, cylinder heads, valve train, and exhaust system to extract an astonishing 1,000 horsepower and 883 pound-feet of torque from the same basic engine architecture. The performance figures are supernatural: 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 2.1 seconds, and a quarter-mile time of 9.57 seconds at 147 miles per hour. These numbers actually exceed those of the Demon, living up to the Exorcist name's implied promise to exorcise Dodge's creation. Perhaps even more impressive is the Exorcist's claimed top speed of 217 miles per hour, a figure that places it firmly in supercar territory. Unlike some modified vehicles that sacrifice reliability for performance, the Exorcist comes with a 2-year, 24,000-mile warranty from Hennessy, providing peace of mind to owners who want to exploit the car's capabilities regularly. This combination of extreme performance with daily drivability represents the modern interpretation of the muscle car ethos. You might wonder why someone would choose the Exorcist over a factory vehicle like the Demon. The answer lies in the different character of the base cars. The Camaro ZL1 platform offers superior handling characteristics compared to the Challenger, making the Exorcist a more well-rounded performance vehicle capable of impressive lap times on road courses, in addition to its straight-line prowess. For collectors and enthusiasts, the Exorcist represents an interesting proposition. With only 100 examples produced, it's significantly rarer than the Demon, potentially making it more desirable in the long term. However, its status as a modified vehicle rather than a factory offering may affect its collectability among purists who prefer original manufacturer products. All right, now we're heading into the top two, and both are absolutely unhinged in the best way. One has 4 doors and no business being that fast. The other might be the final true muscle car ever made. 2. Dodge Charger Jailbreak. While the 2-door coupe might be the traditional muscle car format, the Dodge Charger Jailbreak proves that 4 doors don't have to mean compromised performance. This sedan combines supercar rivaling straight-line acceleration with genuine family hauling practicality, creating perhaps the ultimate all-purpose performance vehicle. The Charger Jailbreak is based on the already impressive Charger SRT Hellcat Redeye, featuring a supercharged 6.2-liter Hemi V8 tuned to produce an astonishing 807 horsepower and 707 pound-feet of torque. This represents a slight power increase over the standard Redeye, achieved through revised engine calibration and an optimized intake system. What makes the Jailbreak special, however, goes beyond just raw power. The package breaks Dodge's normal ordering restrictions, allowing buyers to mix and match features and options that weren't previously available together. This means owners can create truly unique combinations of colors, wheels, badges, stripes, and interior features, ensuring that no 2 Jailbreak Chargers need be identical. Performance, as you'd expect, is breathtaking. The Jailbreak can accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in approximately 3.5 seconds, on its way to a top speed of 203 miles per hour, making it one of the fastest sedans ever produced. Quarter-mile times dip into the high 10-second range, territory once reserved for dedicated sports cars. Curiosity loop. Have you ever wondered how Dodge engineers managed to make a family sedan outperform supercars costing 5 times as much? The answer lies in relentless development of the LX platform that underpins the Charger. Though the basic architecture dates back to 2005, Dodge has continuously refined the suspension, braking, and powertrain components to handle ever-increasing power levels. For collectors, the Charger Jailbreak represents an interesting opportunity. As Dodge transitions toward electrification, these ultimate expressions of traditional V8 muscle are likely to become increasingly valuable. The Jailbreak's combination of extreme performance, practical 4-door configuration, and limited production numbers suggests strong future appreciation potential. As we reach the pinnacle of our muscle car countdown, we arrive at a vehicle that perfectly balances raw power with sophisticated handling dynamics. 1. Ford Mustang Dark Horse. And here it is, the crown jewel, car that blends brutal power, track-ready tech, and daily drivability like nothing else on this list. As possibly the last generation of Mustang to feature an internal combustion engine before electrification takes hold, the Dark Horse stands as Ford's definitive statement on what a 21st century muscle car can be. The Dark Horse is powered by a naturally aspirated 5.0-liter Coyote V8 that has been extensively modified with components from the Shelby GT 500's Predator engine. The result is 500 horsepower and 418 pound-feet of torque. These are impressive figures for a non-supercharged power plant. Perhaps more importantly, this engine delivers linear power delivery and an intoxicating soundtrack that connects directly to the muscle car tradition. What truly sets the Dark Horse apart from muscle cars of the past is its handling capability. This isn't merely a straight-line specialist, as it's equipped with Magnite active suspension, massive Brembo brakes, and structural reinforcements that make it equally capable on winding roads and racetracks. Available with either a 6-speed manual or 10-speed automatic transmission, it offers driver engagement that earlier muscle cars could only dream of. The Dark Horse's styling strikes a perfect balance between heritage and modernity. The silhouette is unmistakably Mustang, but with aggressive aerodynamic elements like a fixed rear wing, unique front fascia, and wider fenders to accommodate the increased track width. Inside, the cockpit combines digital displays with tactile controls, creating an environment that's both technologically advanced and driver-focused. You might wonder what makes the Dark Horse worthy of the top spot over more powerful contenders like the Demon or Exorcist. The answer lies in its versatility and balance. While those vehicles are specialized tools optimized for drag racing, the Dark Horse delivers 9/10 of their straight-line thrill while adding world-class handling, daily drivability, and a naturally aspirated character that's becoming increasingly rare in the performance car world. For collectors and enthusiasts, the Dark Horse represents an investment opportunity with significant upside potential. As the automotive world transitions toward electrification, this Mustang development is likely to be highly sought after in coming decades. Its limited production numbers and special status in the Mustang lineage further enhance its collectability. Enjoyed our list of the best and worst muscle cars to buy? Then hit that subscribe button, because we've got more videos coming your way. Got thoughts or stories about these rides? Drop them in the comments. And if you haven't seen it yet, check out our video on 15 muscle cars that failed to live up to the hype. See you in the next one.